Hey guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video, and so today we're finally getting another one of the no item runs uploaded. I spoke about this on Twitter the other day, and obviously when the stages first come out, I was posting tweets and stuff, but basically when the stages came out, because there's always a race to try and get the stages done first, I did record all of the no item runs on the first and second day that the event came out, and a lot of them I had to record at work on my phone. So I did post some screenshots around, like I have pictures from back when the event first came out showing that I did in fact no items all of the stages way back then. But as I posted on Twitter the other day, a lot of the runs that I recorded on my phone whilst I was at work, the quality is just absolutely awful, and I started recording the commentary tracks to go over them. And honestly, the quality was so bad, like for some reason it was just really choppy, like really laggy, which is weird because the recordings like on my phone seemed fine, but once I had them actually downloaded and transferred over to the computer, the quality was just completely ruined. And the thing is, I wanted to get all the videos pushed out as quickly as possible, but I'm not happy with putting out videos that look that bad. So unfortunately, it means that some of these are being released late. Basically, for this one, Majin Buu Saga and Superclass, I had to redo them to record them on my PC because I just couldn't put out a video that was that bad. Because as much as I wanted them to be out as quickly as possible, the whole point is I want to be able to have a playlist of all of the no item runs that anyone can come to at any time. And if someone finds these videos later on, maybe even months down the line, they don't potentially know that like they were rushed to be recorded on the first day as part of some kind of like global race to beat all the stages. They're just going to see a bad quality video. And if it was me, if I had started watching a video that was of that quality, I wouldn't watch it. So there you go. So we had to redo Extreme Class. Fortunately, because I've done it already, I just had to grab a cooler friend and jump in with the previous team. And we are running the double cooler leads, transformation boost / terrifying conquerors team. Now, obviously, because it's the Extreme Class stage, you do have to bring one unit of each typing. That is basically the only reason why I bought the physical Angel Frieza. I feel like he's probably the best bet out of all the units that I had. Physical Cooler, if he had his Easy A, would probably take his place, depending what his Easy A does. But post Easy A, I thought for a no items run, he probably wouldn't be quite as tanky as I would like. Whereas the physical Frieza, in his base form, he lowers attack and seals with his super attack. So obviously that is incredibly useful. Raditz is one of the MVPs. Obviously, shout out to him. We were using him a lot in the road to complete the final stage and get extreme tech no items done, but just for the same reasons that he's good there, he's good here. As long as there's multiple opponents, he has damage reduction. He's guaranteed to stun the enemy for one turn, so even though we didn't super attack there, we stun Goten for this turn. Obviously, if we can super attack, we have the potential to stun for 2 turns, but the key at the start of the turn was not great here, so at least he does get the guaranteed stun for the duration of this turn. Another unit who is an MVP on this team is the free-to-play Final Form Frieza that you see on this rotation. As long as there is a Goku family enemy, he guards and has damage reduction, as well as providing support to the rest of the team. So every single fight on the Superclass stage has a Goku family enemy. So obviously the strategy is just to keep them alive until last, and keep that full buff on the Frieza, and then he can just tank everything. He also lowers attack with his super attack, which is super useful. Obviously, Cooler does that pre-transformation. We've got the Demon Goddess Toa on the team. She lowers attack and seals, and then of course, if you start the turn with her and you're below 50% HP, she not only gives a 50% heal, but she also gives a massive buff for that turn to extreme type enemies, which obviously for this stage, we are running a full extreme team. So I do believe that we get that ability to go off at least twice, I think, during this run. So obviously there are 3 fights. You can use it once per fight. Very, very useful. All of those kind of units that can give you a free heal are super useful in Super Battle Road, especially when it comes to the no item run. So obviously Cooler here, once transformed, he gets guaranteed crits. So he's just going to go off. Again, every single fight has a Hybrid Saiyan or Pure Saiyan, so you can always get Cooler's passive to activate. And once we're left with only one enemy, this team setup just becomes incredibly powerful because we have so many units that lower attack, and then Demon Goddess Toa and the Physical Frieza pre-transformation seal as well. So when you've got one enemy left, if you just can keep them sealed and consistently attack lowered, they can't really do anything to you. So because Goten is attack lowered here, when there's only one enemy left, Raditz loses his damage reduction and just gets a decent attack and defense buff instead. But the problem is that means that on Super Battle Road with no items active, he can't really tank. So I left Demon Goddess Toa in slot 1 just because she had the type advantage, and Goten has already been attack lowered a little bit, so I knew he wasn't going to do crazy damage to her. And then of course she's able to seal him, attack lower him even further, which then of course allows Raditz to actually tank the attacks, because Raditz is really good on Super Battle Road just in general. Like on Extreme Tech he's really good, but remember that when we're running him on that team, if we're running him under double Janembas, he's getting the 130 lead from Janemba's secondary leader skill. Whereas obviously on this team, because he's in Cooler's category, he's getting the full 170 buff from both of the leaders. So his tanking is actually a lot more effective than it was in Extreme Tech. Because in Extreme Tech, he still takes like 20 to 30k, depending on whether there's support on the rotation, when there's no item active. Whereas you can see in this run, very often he just takes double-digit damage, especially when there is a support. So then I think this is what we get this rotation set up as one of the turn rotations. I do actually end up rotating some of the units a little bit as we go through, so I don't have like a concrete set of 2 rotations every time, because this rotation is obviously incredibly powerful defensively but not as great offensively, because AGL Golden Frieza, one of the best tanks in the game, but it doesn't do a crazy amount of damage. And then of course that Frieza, because we have a Goku family enemy present, he can tank everything, start lowering attack and all that good stuff. And yeah, you'll see here like a super attack from Piccolo, 47k. I mean, 47k is not ideal, but I mean, it's much better than, you know, Extreme Super Battle Road, a unit that you wouldn't qualify as being a particularly good tank. You're easily taking like 150 to 200k from that super attack. So taking 47k, I'm happy with that. And then Cooler comes in here, attack lowers Krillin. We almost took out Krillin in the one turn, so a lot of damage there. And now we can go ahead and put Raditz in slot 1. I'm going to target the TN for the stun here, because then he's the one I'd be worried about attacking Cooler. Because Cooler I can attack lower TN, but if he super attacks, then it's basically GG. So Cooler, attack lowering Gohan, and then even though he is physical, so she has type disadvantage, I'm hoping that the Demon Goddess Toa here is going to be able to finish off Krillin in the final spot. And then Raditz gets a nice clutch dodge against the Master Roshi super attack, because even with his damage reduction, that probably still would have done 30k maybe, and I would, you know, take 0 damage over 30k, yes please. So we take that level 3 dodge. And then Cooler comes in, hits Gohan again, another attack lower. Because the thing is, I need to keep Gohan alive because he's the Goku family enemy. But he also attacks the most out of everybody. So I do want to make sure that I'm keeping him under control in terms of keeping him attack lowered, potentially sealed. And unfortunately, Toa does not take out Krillin. But because he's been hit multiple times by Cooler and then attack lowered by her as well, he doesn't do any damage to her. So that works out perfectly fine. And then I was just seeing whose attack would be better in either slot, because at this point it doesn't really matter between the Golden Frieza and the Int Frieza who we put in which spot in terms of tanking. So AGL Golden Frieza, even though he doesn't do a crazy amount of damage, he should be able to take out Krillin here. And then I'm taking my time picking who I'm going for here for the attack lower, but I'm going for Piccolo because I noticed the Dokkan bar is getting quite full, so we're probably going to get it, I think, next turn. So I'm trying to like spread out the damage a little bit here, as well as make sure like who hasn't got attack lowering on them already, who needs to be sealed. So I'm trying to spread the attacks out a little bit in the hopes that then when we get the Dokkan attack, we are able to just come in and finish everybody off. So of course, it depends on the rotation that we get, because Raditz is the best tank, so ideally we want to put him in slot 1. but he's not the hardest hitting unit, so he's not the ideal unit to be getting the Dokkan attack with. The ideal setup when you're running a Cooler team on any of these stages where you can run his team is to get the Dokkan attack with the transformed Cooler, because obviously he gets guaranteed crits. He's going to hit incredibly hard. But the way this turn is set up, especially with the 2 attacks from TN in slot 1, there's just no way I can put Cooler in slot 1 here. So basically, by being in the middle transformed and then linked up with his untransformed self, he has his full link set active. Both my Cooler and the friend are Rainbow full level 10 links. And so, you know, he's going to be able to dish out a pretty crazy amount of damage. He has the chance to do guaranteed additionals. So basically, I have to go for the strategy here of just going for the Dokkan attack with Raditz, even though it's obviously not the most effective. And then, you know, just seeing how we go from there. So we target Roshi with Cooler, because I know that even though the Dokkan attack from Raditz is probably not going to do crazy damage to Roshi, unless it crits, Cooler is obviously going to be able to come in and hit incredibly hard afterwards with the guaranteed crit. So this is actually a great turn. Like, Cooler is just going to pop off here. So we hit the nodes with Raditz for the Dokkan attack. As you can see, he's only rocking, what is it, a 1.8 million attack stat. Obviously, he is getting the buff from the untransformed Cooler because he's on Terrifying Conquerors and there's multiple enemies. So his damage is not terrible, but obviously it's not the ideal. Like, we only hit him for under 1.5 mil without a crit. But you see, Cooler at a 4.5 million attack stat. He comes in here to finish off Roshi with the guaranteed crit. Takes him out. Goes straight into an additional super on Gohan. So, gonna plant himself another tree here. Guaranteed crit. Takes out Gohan. And then here he goes again. 5 million attack stat. 3 super attacks in the one turn. All guaranteed crits. Cooler just comes in and sweeps away the remainings from Raditz's Dokkan attack. So very, very strong ending to that turn. It also means that we come into the third fight with full health off of the Dokkan attack, and we're on the rotation with Golden Frieza and the Final Form Frieza. So we are pretty much untouchable going into the first turn. I need to be careful here because obviously I tried checking. I was thinking about playing it out like this because I didn't want Toa to take so many attacks, but then I realized like the type disadvantage is probably a lot worse than having the attack lower. So I figured I would probably be better off to do this, lower Goku's attack and seal, because if one of them is going to super attack, it doesn't really matter if they super attack either of the Freezers. So ideally, if they were going to super attack this turn, we want the super attacks to be in slot 1 or 2. But obviously, by targeting Goku in slot 3 with Demon Goddess Toa, she obviously seals him up, so he is unable to super attack her. And he lowers her attack. Goku and the Vegeta in this final stage do hit pretty hard, though, so even on lowering her attack, his attack, I'm pretty sure she takes a bit of damage here. Yeah, 80-odd K per attack. I was my eyes went pretty wide when that happened. I'd forgotten that she takes quite that much damage, even though he was attack lowered. So you imagine, if he wasn't attack lowered at all, we'd have been looking at probably 100k, and then one of those could potentially have been a super, and that would have just been run over. So what we need to do here is we need to play in such a way that we can survive until we get Toa back on rotation again to get the free heal. So, fortunately, because we have the double coolers, we have a couple of STR units, we can seal up, stun Goku with Raditz, because he's the one that we want to stay alive the longest anyway, so that the Int Frieza can get his passive to be active, and then we can target Vegeta with everybody else, and then, of course, that means he's going to be attack lowered a few times, and have type disadvantage over the cooler, so we are going to be able to tank perfectly fine. In fact, did I attack Vegeta with Frieza? Yeah, because then he's sealed. Because that was the other thing I was worried about, is even if we do lower his attack, even with the type advantage that we have, if Vegeta super attacks Cooler in this final slot, he would still take a little bit of damage. And considering our health is so low, I want to make sure that I'm playing this as safe as possible. So now that he's been sealed and like double attack lowered, he's just doing double digit damage to Cooler in the final spot. And then, of course, now that we're up to turn 3 and we got the Pure Saiyan enemies, we can transform Cooler early again. So Cooler gonna go straight into the final form. This rotation works out really nicely, especially when you start having the enemies sealed and attack lowered, because we can put Golden Frieza in slot 1 to just basically soak up all of the hits. And then Cooler can go off in slot 2 or 3, depending on how we want to play out the rotation. But we did get the 2-turn stun on Goku. So I decide here that I'm actually going to float off the Golden Frieza because there's more attacks in the final slot. Vegeta is obviously attack lowered here and sealed, so he can't super attack Cooler in slot 1. And so Cooler is going to be able to come in and again get the guaranteed crits. He already has type advantage, so obviously he's dealing pretty solid damage to Vegeta. And then one thing I do need to be mindful of is the fact that, again, Raditz is only able to tank when there are 2 enemies. Because I think if we'd gone fully crazy on this turn and Cooler had got like triple super attacks, it would potentially have been possible to actually finish him off. So we get very, very close. I think, do I attack Goku with Golden Frieza? No, I did attack Vegeta, so I did attack him with everything, but obviously, as you can see, AGL Golden Frieza doesn't really do a huge amount of damage, so Vegeta is still alive, but like I said, that actually works out in our favour here, because it means that Raditz gets his damage reduction and guaranteed stun, so he can go ahead and stun Goku, and then we go ahead and transform Frieza into the Angel Golden Frieza, because not only is he going to hit quite a bit harder, but we also have the possibility of stunning. And I do believe this turn we got the heal from Toa to go off as well, because we are yeah, we're topped up on HP, so that also means that everyone's defense and attack is higher for this turn. So Raditz is absolutely going to be untouchable in slot 1, and then of course Angel Golden Frieza is going to do extra damage here on his attack against Vegeta. And then I take a second trying to decide whether to retarget or stay targeted on Vegeta. I decide to stay targeted on Vegeta with Demon Goddess Toa, just on the off chance, because if he does survive or doesn't get stunned, I'd be very worried about him potentially super attacking her, because now that Golden Frieza's transformed, he can stun, but he doesn't seal. So if the stun fails and then Vegeta super attacks Demon Goddess Toa in the final slot, that would be game over unless she gets her dodge. So I didn't really want to rely on that. Obviously, we could always have the thing where Golden Frieza stuns and doesn't kill, and then technically Toa's attack is wasted, which I think is, yeah, exactly what happens. Because I was thinking he could have just finished off Vegeta, and then obviously she would retarget onto Goku, and he would be sealed and attack lowered ready for the next turn. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, we were lucky, and we got the 2-turn stun on Goku yet again with Raditz. So Raditz really putting the work in on this run here. And now we're able to maximize Cooler's effectiveness by having him in the middle here. And I even decide I want to finish things off this turn. Vegeta is sealed and has been attack lowered multiple times, so I actually don't have to worry about him attacking Cooler in the middle slot whatsoever. So I decide to just target Goku with the transformed Cooler, because now it means that Cooler's going to be able to go off and deal a ton of damage to him, and then the untransformed Cooler in slot 3 can just finish off Vegeta because his health is so low. So if Cooler had like fully popped off here with multiple super attacks, we could just finish things off completely. And he didn't get the multiple supers, but the normal attacks were enough thanks to the guaranteed crits. And as I said, I didn't have to worry about Vegeta attacking Cooler in the middle, because with sealing and attack lowering, he just did double-digit damage to him. And then the untransformed Cooler comes in, gets a nice big crit, and finishes him off. So there you go. That is the Extreme Class No Items run done. Again, apologies it's taking so long to get these last couple of videos up, because I do basically just have to re-record them all over again, which is kind of annoying. Hopefully, the next time new Super Battle Road stages come out, rather than take the risk of recording them on my phone and the quality being really bad, I literally might just book the first couple of days off that they come out so I'm not working, and I can make sure I get them all recorded actually on the computer. But there you go, another one down, and we'll try and get the next one out as soon as possible. Let me know what you guys think. If you've done the stage, let us know your team builds down below. And yeah, hopefully we'll get the next one up very soon. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.